Hello everyone, welcome to today's show. We are with TROPOLITE from Njoro Canning. We are going to be showcasing their products that they sell at TopServe Limited. These are some of the products they'll be selling with us. So kindly let me introduce you to the chef. Hello chef, how are you?
Hello, Mercy from TopServe. Pleasure to be with you today. This is Chef Benson from Njoro Canning Factory. We sell products. We produce products for cakes or other cake ingredients, and TopServe is one of our greatest outlets. So we are here with them today. You feel very much welcome, and we are going to introduce all our products and try to explain to our audience on how to use them and the tips entailed in using them. So my pleasure.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Okay. So where are we going to begin, chef?
Okay, we have a lot of products with us, but we are going step by step. So we begin with the premixes. Premixes for cakes. Premixes have actually eased the work of baking, because a lot of people hate baking, even domestically, because of the story of creaming, using the mwiko and all that. But now technology has improved actually the work of cake baking by easing the work entailed. So the labor work is actually reduced with the introduction of machines, with the introduction of premixes. You have a pre-mixed cake, which you will only have to do the mixing within like 3 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Your mixing is ready, and it's in the oven, so you can run other errands as you continue. Now you don't involve yourself too much into creaming, the story of whipping the eggs and all that. When you have the premix, the work is done easier. So our product is locally produced from Njoro, Nakuru, and to introduce to you, we have the eggless premixes, like the one I'm holding already. So this is an eggless muffin mix, vanilla, for your yummy muffins, very soft, moisturized, tasty, and very luscious. So we have several premixes depending on what you would like to bake, but we have only now done vanilla and chocolate, to be specific. So the eggless ones, we have the eggless muffin mix. This is the eggless cake mix chocolate. And this flour is suitable for people who don't take proteins. So it doesn't use eggs, and everything is mixed for you, from sugar, the raising agents, the binding agents, the stabilizers, the humectants, and the moisturizers. So what you only need to add is water and oil, and this actually comes in because you have the ingredients on the paper and the instructions on the package, that is. So like this one, if you can see, my friend, we have the premix, which is a package of 1 kg, that is 1000 grams. This one will only need a half liter of water, which is equivalent to 500 grams. Then a mixture of oil, cooking oil, which is also healthier than the fat, the other fats which are solid. So this is healthier to your body. And if you are using the other fats, it's not that they are bad, but you can melt them to attain them into, to make them liquid. Then you add them together with the water and the premix. Then you just whisk it for 3 to 4 minutes, and your cake is ready for baking. So it is that easy. It is that easy. And our flour is local flour. It's not imported. So we are one of the first brands to do the premixes actually locally in Kenya. So it's something you can track back to the factory if you get any errors or you find challenges. You can access us through the addresses on the same package. So I've said we have the eggless cake mix chocolate. We have the eggless cake mix vanilla. Eggless cake mix vanilla. Then we have, those are egglesses. So for the muffins also, we have the eggless cake mix muffin mix chocolate and muffin mix vanilla. So those are our egglesses. Then if you come to the people who love eggs and who doesn't have any effect, who don't have any effect when taking eggs, we also have a cake mix which uses eggs, and for 1 kg packet you will only need 8 eggs for that matter, and then the premix, water and oil, and your cake will be ready in no time. So it's just a matter of the baking time in your oven, but mixing it is shortened completely because you only need like 5 minutes. Perhaps you do your cakes at night after your day's hustle. So when you come in the house at night and you find that you don't have time, you are tired, this one makes it easy for you to bake, because in 5 minutes you'll be sitting on your sofa as you wait for the cake from the oven. You only need 5 minutes to mix it, put it in the oven and sit down. As you rest, your cake gets ready. So it makes it easier for you. So we have the cake mix vanilla and we have the cake mix chocolate. These ones uses eggs. We also have the one for muffin mixes, vanilla and chocolate too. So kindly you can proceed with the questions you may need to ask.
Okay, thank you, Chef.
You're welcome.
So the one question, like the 1 kg, the 1 kg pack, what's the cake? How much cake will you get from a 1 kg pack?
Okay, if you mix, the total drop weight for this is actually the total number of, the total weight is the total ingredients, the total weight of the ingredients. Like this one, if you check the eggs 400, the water is 350, this is 750 plus 1000, that is 1750 grams. So with that you can get a cake of 1.5 kg, which when you apply the cream will be exactly a 2 kg cake. Yeah, okay. Because the other weights will be added by the syrup you may need in your cake and the cream that which you will apply on the cake. It will give it the rest of the weight. Like if you can check on the sample cake I have done here, this is a third. It's a third of the premix. This one is done with 340 grams of this flour only. So even this one is still the same, 340 grams. So if you bake these 3 cakes with 1 packet of the flour, your cake will achieve a height of almost around 5 to 6 inches. So it's usually advisable whenever you are baking a cake that you bake it with a smaller height. It will stay for a shorter period in your oven, and once it's out, it will be evenly baked. So it is much more better, and it will have actually leavened very well. So if your cake is has a bigger height when you are baking, it doesn't raise up well due to the weights. So you might find that it's lighter on the top, it's heavier on the bottom, because leavening it, as it goes up, it exerts weight downwards. So you might find that your cake is thicker at the bottom and it's lighter at the top. So this one makes it easy to have your cake with even texture from bottom upwards. So you bake a 2 kg cake, but with 3 tins, so that once it's out, then you bind it upwards and you will achieve a height of your cake, which is actually a trend currently. So with that, it is easier for you, and with the shorter cake, it will take shorter period of time even in the oven. So with the cake with the height will take a longer period in your oven, and the textures will be different. There is a term we use in pastry and cake baking, that the smaller, the tinier the snack, the sweeter. It's because it doesn't lose its nutrition when it's in the oven, because it takes shorter time. And the smaller it is, the more it penetrates the heat inwards easily. So it is advisable you do your cakes in smaller heights, then you bind them after baking to achieve the heights.
We stock the 3-inch and the 4-inch tins at Stopsa.
Yeah, baking tins.
Which tin would you recommend people to use, and why would you recommend that particular tin? Okay,
depend on some things actually have standard measures, even if they go international. So you will never find a tin beyond 4 inches.
Why is that?
Yeah, actually it's because the heights, once they go beyond 5 inches, that cake is too heavy, and you will find that it will not actually bake up to the interior. So even if the cake bakes up to the interior, you will come to find that it's dry from the edges because of taking too much time in the oven. So it gets dry as it gets baked inwards, because actually the central point of the cake is too far for the heat to get inwards. So most tins go up to 4 inches, 3-4 inches, and that is actually a standard measure according to what I know. So it's the tin in the market. It's not about you selling a tin with 6 inch or above that. You will not get them. Perhaps if you get a tin beyond 4 inches, it's customized. It's customized. It's not an international scale. Yeah.
And you had mentioned something about baking the cakes. You only need 5 minutes to prepare it. What duration do you need to bake the cake in the oven, and at what degrees?
Okay, there are a lot of factors in that. Since ovens, number one, are different. We have ovens which are radiational. We have convection ovens. Others use the microwaves, which actually heat from inside outwards. That one we call it induction. So induction is not very much into baking, but if you come to ovens, the convection oven is faster in baking than the radiation oven. A convection oven is the one which has a fan, which fans the heat all around the oven. And you come to find that if an oven is convectional, it's more economical. It absorbs in large capacities, so that's why you find the layers inside, so you can place your cakes from bottom upwards on the shelves. Since the fan makes sure that the heat is even in the whole oven, but for an oven using radiation, like the single decker ovens, like the domestic ovens like this one, now here we have one, you cannot put a cake one at the bottom and another one at the top, or in layers, since it only heats from top and bottom. There are elements on the top and there are elements on the bottom. So if you put cakes in layers, the one at the bottom will actually bake from bottom, but the heat from above will be blocked by the cake above it.
So every one mix at a time, you have to do one tin?
Not really one tin, but the tins which can fit at the same level, not one on top of the other. So this is like I've told you, this is a radiation oven. If you get an oven, actually this one, not really. This one can be a radiation, can also be a convectional. Since you can see the fan, yeah, you can see the fan. So you first presume an oven by seeing such features. So if you have this fan, it means that this one can distribute the heat equally within the oven completely. So from each end, the temperature is the same, and this one makes it even the heat between the cakes even also. That is why you can place one cake at the bottom, you can put another cake on top like this, since the fan will distribute the heat evenly even between the cakes. So that is what we call convection. If it is radiation, the fan will not be there, and that is very common with most of our domestic ovens. So you will not find the fan, you will find this one plain. So if it is plain, it means that the oven is radiational, so that the elements are beneath this plate and the other element is here at the top. So if you put these cakes like this on a radiation oven, this one will start baking from bottom, but the upper heat is blocked by the cake above. The cake above will start baking from top, but the bottom will not have heat because it's blocked by this one. So you find that the heat comes from bottom and the other one comes from top. Now instead of that, you are supposed to bake that way. That is the correct way for a radiation oven. So if it's like that, now you can have like 4 tins. So 2 behind and 2 here. But if your cake is large, it's a large tin, you only need to put 1.
Okay.
whatever can fit in your oven, and that is very much advisable to bakers. So
and,
that
the bakers who can't afford the commercial oven, they're going to be using the one that they buy locally at the supermarket. Most of them use 180 degrees. What's the right temperature for them to use it at?
All standard ovens are up to around 200. Even if you find it written up to 180, you'll find an extra dot, whereby if you move beyond that dot, it means it's 200. The baking temperature, the standard baking temperature is 180. Actually, the people bake with 220, but this is no, not 220, but sorry, 200 degrees. 200 degrees is used for baking things like breads and the buns and all that, or even muffins, since they are tinier and they take shorter time in the oven. So even these sponges for Swiss rolls, it's thin. So even if you put it at 200, it is just in like 7 to 15 minutes, it's out.
So for your premix, if you bake it at 180 to 200, you only take like 17 minutes for your cake to be ready?
Not really. This cake is a bit thicker, and the moisture content is higher. So it's a dense cake. It's not a light cake like the sponges.
What is the time?
So the timing, actually the best baking temperature for cakes is 180. Normal cakes, the block cakes. That is vanilla, marble, orange, mint, chocolate and all that. Leave alone the sponges. Just the cakes. So this is part of that. Then if you are doing, even if you are doing your recipe from scratch, try baking between 170 to 180 degrees. It might take longer than the normal time for a cake to bake,
so
but it is more safer. Still, to add on that, there is another tip. If you have a cake like this, most people who bake, you find that your cake is cone shaped on top.
Yes.
So you find that your cake has risen higher at the center, but it's lower on the edges. There are a lot of tips on that, but the one greatest tip is one. This is more theoretical, actually, according to my research, because if you can check on this oven, this element is open. There is no plate here. True or false?
True.
These are the elements you can see, but there are elements down, but there is a plate. You can't see them. You can't see the elements. True or false?
True.
So it means that the heat from the bottom is indirectly is hitting the cake indirectly because of the plate. Not still forgetting that your tin also has a base. So there is this one blocking heat. There is also this one blocking heat. But on top, you don't close your tin. The element is direct. This one causes the cake to form crust. A crust is a hard surface on top of the cake before it is actually ready. So that crust makes the cake fail to rise any further, and that is where the cake cracks to find a way of popping up because of the pressure inside. So that is why most cakes tend to make the cone, they pop up. Now, to avoid that, if your oven has two knobs for the bottom temperature and the upper temperature, like the single deckers, you need to have the lower heat higher than the upper heat. Like you can put 150 or 160 at top, then 180 at the bottom. This will increase the heat from the bottom but reduce the heat from above, because the element is directly hitting the cake. So that is one. Now, if you have an oven with such a knob, which is actually doing the temperatures both bottom and top, you need to only cover your cake for some time. So you put your cake batter, you put your tin here, then cut a piece of foil paper, place it on top. That one will block the heat from hitting cake directly. That will make the cake fail to make the crust, because it's not heated directly. Now for like 20 minutes, then you remove the foil. Now for the cake too, you will find that the cake has risen evenly, very well. So that is one tip I would give to bakers. It is very important. Okay. Yeah, it's something I've done with my own experience. Even if you get your cake having formed the cone, it is semi-cone. It's almost flat. and that is very good, and you find that your cake is not dry on the surface.
Chef Benson, for people who are going, some other people try to ask in questions about using microwave oven. Is it advisable to use it? Can you use it, or are there any effects of using the microwave?
Okay, about effects I have not heard, but baking with the microwave is quite sensitive. Yes, you can bake with it, but small things, the tiny snacks,
muffins,
rather, yes, things like that, but not fully occupying the microwave. You know, this one has a circular inside, so you cannot fill the whole microwave, although there are others which do not have the circular, you just place. So microwave oven, I have not used it, but I know that you can do few desserts, the smaller desserts, not big cakes.
No, you can do a half kg cake.
Okay, I haven't done it personally, but I think it is possible, although you are supposed to read the manual on the face of the microwave to see which temperatures to use for baking. You don't just put it like you're microwaving something, like the way you put something and then you come and press start all of a sudden. That is not a way of baking. You need to check if your microwave has that feature of baking, so that you give it the right temperatures. So if your microwave has the baking, like this is grill now, so if it has the feature for baking, then you can do it, you can bake with it, but not big cakes. So people should not use it for commercial purposes, probably domestic, and then it's a warning, don't use the metallic tins in your baking in the microwaves. You know the reactions, so that one is quite risky. Yeah, so if you are baking from the oven, use porcelainware, use earthenware, use probably plastics if at all it's microwave friendly. So that is what you can use, actually, not the metallic ones.
So you said you can't use a steel baking tin. What is the reason for that?
Okay, actually most people who have the microwaves in their houses know that you cannot put something metallic in your oven. Definitely this one uses electromagnetic induction, and there is that repel reaction of the waves and the metallic thing. This will cause your microwave to burst or actually break down. So it's something metallic. It will react with the electronic induction waves from your microwave, and that will cause breakdown of the microwave. It won't even go for a minute. Not even a minute, 2 seconds are enough to blast the whole thing or just break down completely. So it's kind of creates some sort of electronic reactions. So all microwaves, actually nowadays there are microwaves you can use the metallic thing, but it is not common. It is not common, so it's advisable never to use something like metallic in your ovens. Not even a spoon you're supposed to use when you are heating your food in the microwave, and that is actually known by a lot of people. Since we are in Africa, actually Kenya for that matter, and you might go to YouTube and find somebody using the microwave and using a metallic tin. Some of the things from the outside world are not yet in our countries. So you might find that they have them which use the metallic things in their microwaves, but the same brand of microwaves are not in our country. So don't go and try it out, because you are risking your life and the life of your family members in the house. That is not advisable actually.
Back so using the tins, we stock different types of tins at TopServe. We have the Jua Kali, then maybe the carbon steel, and we have the non-stick. So what are the difference between the three, and which one would you prefer people to use, or any benefits of using a particular baking tin?
Okay, all tins are good except the ones that, like the one I'm holding. These are stainless steel. Not really bad, but some tins depend on the temperatures, others depend on the other tins which actually give smell. The tins are good, all of them. I would advise people to buy tins, especially if it's local one. They are cheap, they are locally available, and they are good. And if you are going for the local tin, try find out an aluminium one. Aluminium is food grade, so it is good.
Does the thickness of the tin help in the baking process?
Not really. That one is not an issue, but the material of the tin is what matters, because stainless steel will heat faster than an aluminium, and a stainless steel will burn a cake easier. It will burn, not baking, burn the cake easier because its heat goes very high, very fast. But aluminium, even if your cake stays for extra minutes in the oven, it doesn't burn. So aluminium is one of the best. Non-stick is good, but if only you can maintain the washing of the non-stick, not using a scrubber. You're actually supposed to use what do you call it, sponge or something soft to avoid scratching the lining that is on the tin. So it's a bit tricky, but it's good. Non-stick is good because it will help you making the cake leave the walls of the tin. But if you are going local, try getting aluminium. It is good.
And for the stainless, you've said it heats faster.
Yes, it heats faster.
What about for people who are using this, the stainless one?
Okay.
Can they reduce the time or the temperature of the oven?
Temperature, not the time, because it will only heat from the walls. The walls will be hotter than the inner part. So actually even steel is not really common in a lot of cooking. Actually the cookware, not the ovens, not the working surfaces, but the tools. This is part of the equipment. That is, the oven can be a stainless steel. That is okay because it keeps it clean. It's cold, and when it's hot, it's hot. So you find that even things like cockroaches cannot survive in such conditions. So it is good when it's the oven itself. But for the equipment, try out for the baking tins. Try to get aluminium ones or the non-stick. Those ones will help you a lot.
For the aluminium ones, the Juakali.
Yes, the Juakali ones. Let's promote our people. It is good, and I'm not saying that because actually it is Kenyan made, but I can bet that they are the best.
And there's a question I got. Someone used the Juakali and said that the cake burnt, or he used the same temperature and everything, but the cake it cracked.
Okay, even if you get to the Juakali, there are different materials which make the tins. So if you want a good tin, look for a tin made from aluminium material. Aluminium, actually it's aluminium and zinc. Aluminium, purely aluminium and zinc. Like, if I can surprise you, there are people who use the normal soffriers to bake, though they don't get the exact corners of the cake, but it comes out good because most soffriers actually are from aluminium, the aluminium zinc. And if somebody has tried to purchase the stainless steel soffriers and try to cook with it, it burns the onions before even you turn to get whatever you are putting inside. Because of the heat, it reacts much more faster. So that is actually it's something general. It's a tip for those new bakers and those who do the YouTube baking and all that. Those are very important tips. And if they embrace what I say, somebody will respond very positively. It will have helped them a lot. So
back to the premix.
Yes.
I've seen you're using water. Can I substitute it with milk?
Yeah, it is possible. If at all you take milk.
And sugar? Can I add sugar to it?
Sugar, not really. This flour has sugar, which is, I think it's enough. Even if you have a sweet tooth, this is enough. Whatever is here is actually standardized, and according to the food ratios and all that, it is actually on that level, and it's put actually according to the Kenya Bureau of Standards directives. Yeah. So these are cakes done with the eggless premix. And to surprise you, Mercy, if you do you bake a cake with the eggs and take our premix, which is eggless, do your cake and try to compare them. it will surprise you because you will not differentiate between the one that which has eggs and the one without the eggs. The quality of the premix is so nice that you can't differentiate. So even if I give you this muffin and you take it, I would ask you if it has eggs and you tell me no, you don't know, because you can't differentiate unless you feel the smell of eggs, and you can't feel the smell of eggs from the other one. So for vegetarians, it is one of the best brand that which you need to use.
For the eggs, and when you are substituting the eggs in the eggless mix, because eggs are for binding, right?
Yeah.
What other components have you substituted the eggs with in the eggless?
Okay, there are different ingredients in this flour that which make it eggless. Those substitutes are the right ingredients, which are all of them are vegetarian actually. Like if you say something like the xanthan gum, it's vegan. It's also used here. There are those things we call the humectants, the stabilizers, moisturizers, but they are all 100% vegetarian, and that is why you have the green mark on the brand. So if you go to the supermarkets and other shopping places and find that a brand has a green mark somewhere, either a tick, a dot which is around one, or a mark like this one, a leaf, it means that that thing is vegetarian. So it's good for vegetarians, those who don't take proteins, meat, poultry products, or I may say animal products.
So Chef Benson, you're doing the premixes and all. We have a baker who can just go make his own recipe. Why would someone come and choose to use a premix when they can just go and make their signature recipe?
Okay.
What would be the advantage of that?
What I would say is that, Mercy, you as a baker, you find that in our day-to-day life, people are multitasking. So you find somebody during the day has a different career, or he is working on a different environment, then he takes baking as a part-time job. So that is what we usually call usiku sako, for those who know. So you find that somebody is actually tired. That is one of the points. So getting to the house and doing a recipe from scratch, getting the recipe and adding everything procedure by procedure is a long process. So it will take that baker a lot of time before he or she bakes, and he also needs to sleep for the next day's operations. So this flour, the premixes, make it easy for you to do a cake, because actually mixing time maximum is 5 minutes. Then your cake is in the oven. Then you can rest as you wait for your cake to bake. If your oven has a timer, then you don't even to wait for it. You just put the cake in the oven, put the exact timer, then go sleep on your sofa. Then once the cake is ready, the bell will ring. Come, remove your cake, leave it cooling, then you rest. It makes it easier and simpler for you. Another point is that a lot of things are rising in terms of costs. So you find that every day things are rising. The sugar is shooting up, the baking, the raising agents, the flours actually, like now currently the normal baking flour is roughly around 150 shillings per packet. So you find that if you buy this, you buy all the ingredients at once. You only need water and the cooking oil. So you won't mind going purchase baking powder, go purchase the sugar, go get this. No, everything is within the package. So yours is only the cooking oil and the water. And if it's for the egg one, you need the eggs. You combine everything with the flour and your cake is done.
Okay, for the people who are not going to do the basic vanilla cake, because they are going to the Christmas period, people are making fruit cakes and different types of cakes. Can they add their baker's mix and their mixture of dried fruits in it? Anything else? Yes,
it very well blends with the flavors and the fruits. So, and for your information, to surprise you, the premixes, especially the eggless ones, it's a premium cake. With a cake which you can do it as a fudge, you can do it as a chocolate cake, you can also use it as your sponge. This one holds syrups very well without making the cake soggy. So the premix is so well blended that you can also use it for your black forest.
Even for the muffin, can I use muffin to make a cake?
Not really. This muffin is for the muffins.
And
But if you need to do a cake, do the eggless cake mix. That's why we have provided them two at a go. Because if we could have used this one to make a cake, although it can do a cake, I cannot dispute that. But there are different ingredients or different ratios. The ingredients are in different ratios. So if it's for muffins, buy specifically for muffins. If it's for the chocolate cake, buy the eggless chocolate premix or the cake mix chocolate, and it will give you the cake.
Anything happen if I use this and I go and make my 1 kg cake?
No problem. Still applicable. Yeah, you can still substitute it. Okay. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can also see you have a different packaging. Do you have any backstory or anything related to your packaging?
Story like
your others are using
the cubicle boxes and all that. Not really. Once we introduce the package, we can rebrand. That is called rebranding. So it's not a must that the package is like this. We are currently selling it in the same actually package, but with time people rebrand, or people they change the mode of packaging with time, and that is actually one of ways to increase the demand of a product or sensitize people on the same thing. Because if you supply a product in the same package for a longer period, it creates some sort of monotony. So once you change the packaging, you raise the eyebrows of the people, and then they get used to something as if it's new in the market. So this is our first package, but with time it will change. It might change to a different packaging. Although this paper is really special, which avoids things like access to weevils, molds. It might even fall, probably carrying in the kitchen, fall on something liquid like water or something. So this one will not suck the water. You can lift up your flour and find that it's still safe. So that is why the package is like that. Okay. Yeah.